Hey everyone, it's Bree, and I'm back to talk a little bit about paragraph structure. So as you can see on my screen, we have a nice, useful acronym here. It is called PEAL, and that's just to kind of help us remember it. But before I explain PEAL, I'd just like to talk a little bit about why I'm going over paragraph structure. So I know it can be tempting when we're writing an essay to have all of our evidence, all of our quotes in one place, and just kind of get that out of the way. Be like, here's all this stuff I'm going to talk about. I'll explain it later. But it's good to kind of think of it from the reader's perspective. You know, if I told you 5 different facts about U.S. history right now, the chances are once I got around to explaining them, you might not remember every single fact that I explained, and it might be confusing which quote or which facts I'm explaining to you if I, bing, 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 give you all the facts and then explain later. Sometimes it's a little more useful to go evidence by evidence. Give evidence, explain it, make sure it's clear, move on to your next piece of evidence. That way the reader will totally understand your point, that entire point, and not have to flip back to 3 pages before and go, oh, that's the quote you're talking about. You want to have your evidence really close to your explanation. And that's just for the reader's sake. So PEAL stands for first making your point. Now this is your topic sentence. This is where you tell the reader, this is how this paragraph connects to my whole project. So if your whole project is proving this poem means this, you want to explain how this specific paragraph, this evidence is going to contribute to that main point. So an example of this is, you're making an argument and you say, this is what I think this poem means. And perhaps one of the things that led you to that was word choice. So your topic sentence could be, another way that this poem shows us this theme is through word choice. Then that paragraph, you should have evidence pertaining to word choice, a specific word that you pointed out or that gave you that feeling. So that's just an example. You want to kind of piece out your thesis. I think this is the meaning because of these 3 or 4 things. And those 3 or 4 things will become your body paragraphs. So with in PEAL, you want to make your point clear and indicate how this paragraph fits into the larger scheme of your paper and how it connects to your thesis. The next would be evidence. So you maybe want to give a little explanation before you give the quote about what it is you're going to say, and then you can give that quote and say, here's where I see it in the text. And that helps the reader again, kind of see where your point's coming from. So after you give the evidence, you want to spend a lot of your time explaining and linking, and that's the last 2 letters in PEAL. So explanation is explaining how the evidence supports your point. And so this is where you want to be a little careful, because you could easily say, well, this helps them make this point. This, you just say it point blank, but you want to be specific about how you're explaining it. Let's say you use word choice, and you chose, let's say the word was gross. That was the word that you're focusing on, one of the words that you thought contributed to the meaning of the poem. You'd want to explain a little bit about the word gross. Well, gross gives us this idea of ickiness and unattractiveness, and then connect that to how that shows the theme of the poem. So you don't want to take it for granted that your audience or your reader is just going to understand why you chose that word. You want to really explain, well, this word gives us this feeling, and this is going to make us, look at this poem from this angle, which is why it shows us this theme. So again, this is a little harder without a concrete example, and I'll probably make another video where I go through an example, but I just kind of wanted to give a framework first. So after you explain how the evidence supports your point and really get into the nitty-gritty of, either the word choice, whatever it is you're picking up on, really explaining that. After that, you want to link it back to your main point, make sure it's clear that how this links to your thesis, how this builds upon your thesis. You want to make sure that's clear. And then you can start maybe hinting at what the next point's going to be. You can also always leave that for the next topic sentence and just kind of make sure your point's clear and then transition using the next topic sentence. But it is a place where you can start to get your reader to go, okay, we're done looking at word choice. Let's look forward to what the next paragraph's about. And this will be easier the more on topic your paragraphs are, and the more thoughtful you are as a writer in which evidence you're choosing and how you're connecting that to the main points in your thesis. So I just wanted to pull this out just because I often see a lot of paragraphs that have all these good points, but it'll be so heavy with quotes and so heavy with information that it's really hard to understand the main point. So another tactic that you can use is, let's say you have your rough draft, go through each paragraph and try to write the main idea of each paragraph next to it. If you're finding that there's maybe 2 or 3 main ideas to each paragraph, try to think of how you could reorganize that so that your reader can kind of understand your argument chunk by chunk instead of all at once. You want to kind of hold their hand and guide them. And Peel is one way that you can do that. All right, thanks everyone. Talk to you soon.